Hey guys, welcome to the 7 to 100 podcast. My name's Tim Warren. I'm the CEO at Helium. I'm joined by Danielle, who is our marketing manager. Say hi, Danielle.
Hi.
There's Danielle. Paul DeMott, who is co-founder and chief technology officer and general tech wizard. Paul DeMott.
What's up, guys?
All right. So point of this podcast, if you are joining us and you're watching, we appreciate your time. We started a business, and this is the journey of us taking a $7 million brand to $100 million. What we are changing, what we are learning, what we're having to do all along the way. And if you're like me, I've watched lots of podcasts, listened to podcasts. I've listened to audio books. I've read books on business. And so much of it is like, here's all the stuff I learned and clipped into one place. Like, man, I wish I could have watched and seen these people in the actual day-to-day learnings, what they're changing, what's going wrong, what's going right. That'd be so much more engaging just to make it feel real and not these like Herculean efforts of, I started a business and we grew to $400 million and we sold for $1 billion. I'm like, what happened in between those two numbers? Like, holy crap, that's a giant achievement, but like what happened in the day-to-day? So the point of this podcast is going to be to cover those day-to-day things, and we're just going to take you guys along with us on the journey. So with that being said, hey, Paul, so I want to chat about this first thing. So those Hormozi videos I sent you on sales, learning a couple things. So he talks about he uses this thing called a closer framework, where you like clarifying questions and you overcome the objections and you work through everything. So he says that in his sales pitches, he only actually pitches the product for no more than 3 minutes. Like that's the maximum time he actually pitches the product. And literally the rest of the time is asking questions, overcoming objections, and closing the sale. I wanted to get your thought on this. So he like literally comes in preloaded with all the objections. It's too expensive. My wife said no, or I don't know if my wife's going to say, I have a business partner. Yep. What's my business partner going to say? I have to get approval from a boss. It's like every objection, right? So I'm thinking about this. We're obviously selling a technical B2B product, but Hormozi might just be like, dude, I don't care about your freaking technical B2B product. It doesn't matter. It'll work just the same. What do you think? How do we overcome the objection? I was thinking about this. I was on 3 proposal meetings yesterday, and all 3 of them, let's see. The first one was hold on, let me go tell you, so we can actually remember these. Oh yeah, the first one is a like lumber company with 15 locations, and we're talking to the director of marketing, the like marketing tech guy, whatever his title is. His name's also Paul, actually. And then so we go through everything, right? And we're like, who has to make this decision? And they're like, it's the 2 of us, but we have to go get budgeting. So we have to submit budgets for next year's budgeting, which means it's like the owners and the CEOs and the budgeting is right? Like, geez. All right, so frick, how do we, what do we do there? So that was like how do I overcome that objection with hey, let's close on the call? Like, they aren't going to buy on the call, probably. Like,
yeah, and I would say too, for our ICP, that's probably more common that they have a budget, somebody else is in control of the purse. And so I think that's going to be one of the tricky parts with some of these, like, get more cash up front offers.
Right.
Maybe there is also where we could do more, instead of like month-to-month payment, we could and instead of trying to get like multiple months up front, maybe we could instead just do instead of 30-day billing, we do 60-day billing or something. Like maybe it just needs to be different for those scenarios.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because so first was a lumber company. The second one was a really large industrial company that does defense contracting work, and the marketing team couldn't even quite describe to us exactly what their product does. Right? They're like, well, we kind of do this and we kind of do that. Where it's actually hard to describe, right? It was like, we need to work on that. Let's make it clear. And then the last one was a large yarn company. They're e-commerce yarn company, selling yarn and crochet and stuff like that, getting maybe 70,000 organic visits a month. So all 3 of them, right? In all 3 cases, we're talking to a major decision maker in the process, but not the entire decision-making team. So one thing I guess I'm wondering, I was curious to get your thoughts on this. Do we not run the actual pitch meeting until we have every single person who's involved in the decision in the room? Because, the marketing coordinator cannot decide. At the same time, my concern with that is the marketing coordinator's job is to first vet the firms that they're even going to bring to the decision-making team, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just question would be, did we, like, are we at least trying to do that? Because, like, I think you're right that it's not always going to happen that, like, they can actually bring the true, like, purse maker or the decision maker of the purse to the call. But, like,
Purse maker, I like that. Let's coin that
purse
term.
maker.
Purse maker. Who is the purse maker? They're like, what?
But obviously, I would not ever expect on a discovery call for that purse maker to be on that call. But like those calls were all proposal calls. So I guess the first question I would have is, like, did we ask in the discovery, like, hey, if we're gonna do a proposal meeting, who are the decision makers, and could you bring them on the call? Because we probably would get some rate of yes to that question, like maybe 25 to 50% of people would just be like, yeah, I can bring them, and then I don't have to re-pitch. Like, I mean, it's hard for somebody to, like, listen to a pitch and then go to their team and do the same pitch that they don't do all the time. So it saved everybody till that.
I was gonna say, like, if I were vetting someone, I'm not going to be able to do that person justice at all for the presentation they gave me if I'm presenting it to you, and Paul. So that actually, I think, hurts us, because then we're just trusting that person to.
Yeah, what if they are a terrible salesperson too?
Exactly.
So they're like,
and I bet you half the time they are.
Yeah, I mean, their job is not to do sales all day. So,
right.
So yeah, so I think my first question would be, like, are we even asking? Because, like, maybe there's a percentage that we could expect to join the call. So I think if we ask, we might just get those people on the call, which then allows us to get to a decision faster. And then if they say no, then maybe we have a different approach and we can brainstorm what that could be potentially.
I think we need to work on this because, like, thinking through what Hormozy's sales teams, what he's been basically pushing for and what he has gotten with a bunch of his teams, which has driven like tens of millions of sales per brand, is they get to a place where basically it's deal prep, build the connection, get them to the call, and then it's a 1 hour call where, like, or even shorter, where it's very short about the product. It's more about, Danielle, who are you? What is your pain? What are you trying to solve? Let's help you make this decision. Let's move this thing forward. Deal close. Get credit card, get payment.
Yeah, I liked one thing he said that I liked that I think captures this is he said he'd rather know way more about who he's selling to than about the product. And he says most companies spend all their time teaching their sales reps about the product and not who they're selling to. So I think that's the core philosophy here is that, like, in those meetings, the goal is to understand the person as much as possible, not to sell them on the product as much. But yeah, this is an interesting question. What do we do, like, if we can't get the purse maker to the call? We sell it so we can actually get the deal across the finish line.
I think so. Given that with our sales team right now, we're varying between like 11% close rate, 19% close rate, 30% close rate, and 50% close rate. And I think that's based on just how well they're asking questions, how well they guide through the framework, and how much trust they build on the call. So I think there's a variety of things there. I think what we're shooting for is a 40% close rate. So I think trying and testing these things won't make our results worse. So I think we should roll this stuff out because it can't make it worse, right? Like Hormozy, so what he said is there's basically 10, 10, and 80. There's 10% of prospects who will never buy from you no matter what. They're just not going to buy. There's 10% of people who are going to buy from you no matter what. They're ready to buy. All their objections are already handled. They got referred in and they're just going to buy from Helium, buy from your company, whatever. He said the battle's for the 80% in the middle who aren't sold. Like, they're not definitely coming to sign up. They're not in the 10, they're not going to buy. And the 10 that are going to buy, they're in the 80. So that's what we're fighting for. So I was actually thinking about this. If we have a sales rep who has an 11% close rate, that 11% close rate is probably he's winning the 10% who would buy from us already, and he's winning only 1% of the 80.
Yeah. It's kind of I guess it's kind of like the stock market. It's like if you're not beating like an 8% return, then you're actually not making money at all because So like we could just put anyone there and they would close those deals essentially.
Right, exactly. So what I'm thinking is we can't make it worse. We should try this because when I heard Hormozy's point of like, okay, try to close it in one sale, like one meeting, just go for the close directly. So what he actually trains his team to do is not to get all the decision makers in the room, but to overcome the objection of, so like, for example, I was talking to growth yesterday, which, Paul, this is one of the things I want to actually talk about today on the pod, is just like whether we should do this or not and spend the money on it. But the sales rep is a really good sales guy, right? He's pushing me on, hey, do you want to do this thing, right? Do you want to do it? They do social media posting, influencer with fan accounts to like extra spread, disseminate the whatever social posts. And so you get a lot more followers and views and whatever. Anyway, so we're talking about it. And I was like, well, I'd like to run this past my business partner because he's smart and I value his opinion. Also, we wasted a lot of money on stupid things that didn't work. And so I want to go ask him what he thinks. And if he's like, no, that's a really dumb idea, it might be a really dumb idea, right? It's not that I can't make the decision on my own. I can. It's that I actually don't want to. I want to get Paul's opinion on this because I want to see what Paul says, right? And then I why I want to run it past my team is I was thinking about this myself. I want Danielle to go check them out and read their reviews and make sure it's not like the unorthodox disaster, right? Where they're like, oh, this will be great. And then it's like, do you have a kickoff? No. Do you guys is there strategy? No. How do we communicate? Oh, you have to create a secondary Slack channel that you have to remember to check. Well, I hate that so much, right? Yeah, sorry. Can I have a refund? No. So you have those experiences with other crap agencies and it's like, oh, frick, I don't want to do that anymore. So then it's like, I go talk to the next one. It's like, hey, you know what? Actually, hold on. Let's not move in together first. Let's go on a date and make sure you're not a psychopath murderer, right? And then go from there. And so
one other thing I want to add to this example too, this is a good analogy for this because I think it's like putting us in the shoes of our clients basically. But let's say that I had even been on the call with you. I still wouldn't have wanted, like if you and I talked ahead of time, I still wouldn't have wanted to make the decision on the call because I think in my mind, that always feels like an emotional decision. And I want the logic to also be there. So I want it to be like, I go to sleep on it and I'm more convinced by it, not less convinced. And so that's the type of buyer that we are in this scenario. So like some people are emotional buyers and they like, they that's what they prefer. But like, I kind of want something to be like, I go to sleep on it and I'm like more excited about it the next morning, not less excited. And then like more time passes. And so I think even if let's just say we get all the decision makers on the call, like in the scenario that we're playing out here, I don't even know that I would want to make a firm decision on that call or give them a specific date of when, because what we really need to do before we commit the money is probably research them, maybe like talk to referrals, look up reviews, see if they have a presence online. Like, are they just amazing at marketing themselves or are they amazing at driving results for their clients? Like, which one is it? Or is it both, So,
I actually
thought experiment, like,
no, let's go through this because this is really good for all the listeners to hear. And also we just need to process this for our own business. So I looked up while we're on the call and they had like 4 Trustpilot reviews. That was it.
I did the same with like AI and I could find almost nothing about them.
I know. And then I asked him, I was like, how many clients do you guys have? And instead of clients, he said, we've served over 500 people, right? Because I was like, was he saying people because they're like personal accounts, social as well? I guess that makes sense, whatever, right? So then I realized, I need to start asking questions that people ask us to see if we're a legit agency. Like, how big are you guys? How many employees do you guys have? How many clients do you have? What's your retention rate? What's your process, right? Like all this stuff, which I didn't do with Unbox and I got burned because I assumed, right? You know what they say about assumptions. I assumed that they're going to have a professional process like Helium does. Like, you're going to focus on the first 48 hours and make that amazing. It's going to be an awesome process where people like, this was an amazing sales process. And then I heard right from the team and they booked a kickoff and we had this thing and everything happened. It was great. That's what we do. I just assumed everybody else does that. Turns out they don't, right? So Paul, let's break this down. Let's go through this of what you and I would need to say yes on the call. Because I think you and I are more cerebral decision makers. I do agree with your point on emotion. I think people also will make emotional decisions, and then they need to back it up with logic. So if I'm not emotionally sold, and then I'm not logically sold, I'm definitely not sold, right? Like,
yeah, and I hate buyer's remorse too, which to me is like the experience I've had of like buying because of the emotion, and then then going to sleep and being like, yeah,
I know, I totally agree. And that's actually what I had after the first week. It was like, this was a mistake, right?
Yeah,
because as soon as I experienced the customer service, I was like, I know this is going to be a disaster, and it has been a disaster. Okay, Paul, a couple thoughts.
Yeah.
Number one is, so what could have sold me on be a better, what you just said? We should probably think through that for Helium and say, like, hey, so Danielle, let's assume you're the prospect. Like, hey, Danielle, you've like, have you bought from other SEO companies before?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, has it gone as well as you've wanted it to go?
Not one time.
Yes, I understand that. Hey, that's why we actually started this company, is for that reason, right? Then imagine if I pulled up a screen of, here's 50 5-star reviews we just got in the last month. I'm going to read some of these to you. And we start reading through them. And we're like, this is this company, here's what they do, here's our industry. This is this company, we started reading all of these. Look, Danielle, if we didn't do what we said we were going to do, we wouldn't have 50 people in the last 30 days that just went and left us these 5-star reviews. So don't take my word for it, take theirs, right? And by the way, if after this call, you want to talk to some of them, I'd be happy to connect so you can call them and ask them, hey, why'd you leave this review? Is it real? Or did they put a gun to your head and force them? Did we force them to do this, right? So first, Paul, I think we need to think about people are sold by social proof. So like, that would have been awesome if the sales rep on the call would have walked me through that and said, hey, do you think all 50 of these people are crazy? No, probably not. How big are their businesses, right? So we should have done that. The second thing that I was just thinking about, you said, Paul, is like this buyer's remorse, right? Because I agree with that. I agree with the buyer's remorse of like, what if I sign up and you told me it's great and then it's not great, right? Then what? Like, what happens, right?
You need to make the risk of saying yes feel smaller than the risk of saying no. I'm sorry. You need to make the risk of saying yes
lower than the risk of doing nothing. Right? Yeah.
Right. Or the cost of doing nothing is clear.
So Paul, I wonder for you, so what if the pitch where you're like, hey, I need to sleep on it because I want to make sure that I'm just excited about it tomorrow and things don't come up or whatever. So here's what Hormozy actually said in one of his I thought was smart. And this would probably work on you and probably would work on me as well too. So he gives the example of like the person comes in for weight loss, right? Like the lady comes into the gym, she wants to lose weight. And he says, all right, hey, can we get you started? The program's going to be $2,000. It's this, big booty boot camp. We're going to help. That's what he would always use. He would use, what do you call it? Alliterations. Big booty boot camp is that's super fun. Hey, you're going to lose weight. You're going to look great.
Building this episode.
Yeah. Big booty boot camp. That was literally what he called it. I thought that's hilarious. Yeah. Anyway, so hey, and then she would say, well, I got to check with my husband to see if he wants me, if I can spend this kind of money. And he's like, no, totally, I understand. So he's like, the first thing you do is you don't. He's like, if you win the argument, you lose the thing. He's like, don't win the argument, right? So he's like, totally, I understand you have to check with your husband, but he's not here right now, and you are. So let me ask this question: do you think your husband would support you getting in shape, losing weight, getting healthier? Do you think he would be on board with that, or would he hate that? No, I think he's on board with that. And would he be excited about you, like, really, like, if you said you've tried this stuff before, would he be excited about you actually doing it this time and making the change in your life? Would he be proud of you, or would he not be proud of you? No, I think he'd be proud of me. Okay. So here's what we'll do. Let's sign you up now. And if you go home and tell your husband, I signed up for this thing, and he's like, girl, I don't want you to get in shape. I want you to be fat and unhealthy. And I want you to sit like sweatpants and Cheetos. And I want you to live 10 years less long because I don't want you to look good because then you'll leave me. He's like, if that's what he says, call me back. I'll tear up the contract and I'll let you have it. Right? That's what he would say. And then she would look.
I do like that concept of like, yeah, we will, like, if you commit today and then you go back, you sleep on it and you say, hey, this isn't the right decision, or you go back, you talk to your partner and you guys aren't ready for it, like, we'll let you out of that. That would allow for a decision. But now you've like switched the friction to be on the internal team to like decide to not do something that they've committed to. Right. So I like that angle, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what our whole like 30-day guarantee thing does. By the way, Danielle, let's make sure that the sales reps use the updated one, because I was on I was on a meeting yesterday with Brian, and like he had the old one that didn't have the 6 months thing. So it was like the 30 days at any time. So we got to make sure that
appreciate that.
Yes. Well, yeah. It's how to make the
avoid the infinite client that never
the infinite refund client, whatever. It's like no, but like, so Paul, I agree with what you just said. I think what we need to do is, since our guarantees and our offers are awesome, we need to then use those to get people to say yes, commit to yes. Because it's like, look, Paul, if you sleep on it and you wake up tomorrow and you're like, I deeply regret this, we'll tear up the contract. We'll send you your money back, right? We don't want you to regret this. Paul, I want to help you make this decision to move forward because our team can help you. Look at these 50 5-star reviews. We're going to help you like we've helped them. But if you deeply regret it, just tell me. We'll tear up this contract and we'll move this thing on. How's that sound?
Yeah, I like that too. That definitely comes from the frame of like you're trying to help somebody, not you're trying to like win a battle against them.
Right. Right.
Because it ultimately, how much do you want a client that like instantly regrets that they decided to work with you? Like,
you probably don't.
I mean, like, does really love working with us?
No, they hate working with us because we're like, this sucks. Just give us our money back because your service sucks, right? And then they're like, nah, no refunds, right? But then we're going to go tell thousands of people it sucked, right? Versus just refund the money and move on. I agree. I think that's just better business, in my opinion, right? I think you'll just create happier clients. And then you can learn from the thing that's like, hey, Paul, you slept on it and like, I can learn from it. If Paul's like, I slept on it, I talked to Bethany and I don't want to do it anymore. Why? And you're like, well, but really why? Hey, Paul, I'm going to refund your money. Can you just be super straight with me? Why? Like, well, I went and read a lot of your reviews and like, there was a lot of unhappy people and they all said like, man, your sales system is real good. And like, they got me feeling really emotional, but then you guys don't freaking deliver.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I think a no with a why is like so much more valuable than just like someone ghosting you. And so,
right.
Absolutely.
Like, then like, okay, well, like this lack of positive reviews is actually the thing impacting our close rate more than anything else. Like, people want to buy and then they don't look at it. So yeah, I liked that. One other thing I was thinking about, just like kind of playing through this thought experiment. If let's say that you talk to this company and they were like, okay, we understand you got to talk to your business partner. Can you like put on the calendar a date where you're going to talk to him? And then if you want, I can hop on the call with you to talk through it, like maybe after you've initially talked to him, and we can go over any questions. And maybe when you talk to him, say, hey, I want you to really think about like, what are all of your objections? What are all the difficult questions you'd have about this? And then I can come in and I can help answer those questions. So I'm just putting myself in the shoes. Like, I think if let's say this agency had proposed that, like, hey, let's get on a phone call with you and your business partner where I will be ready to field all of the questions that you have. And if there's good questions, it's not a good fit, that's totally fine. Right. Like, it feels like it takes down sales resistance. It feels like someone's trying to help you. It feels like you're really trying to arrive at a rational decision, not being like pressured into a sale that you regret later. So if someone does that, like, the thing is that I would really trust that person, especially if they're saying, hey, I want you to bring your hardest questions, like your biggest concerns, bring those to the table so you can talk about them. So that's just, I don't know if like that's just how I would like to be sold, or if that's something that like maybe our ICP would agree with. But just thinking through that, like, that would be a good experience in my mind.
let's do it while we're talking about this. Let's just do a live working session because this is something we need to like literally work through anyway. Danielle, can you like take some notes on this, and then we can, all right, sweet, and then we can literally like process through these. Paul, so let's go through, like you and I have been on a bunch of sales calls. Let's go through, oh, this is really good, by the way. Hormozy said, before you roll out the price to somebody, sales issues are called obstacles. They're obstacles to be overcome. Once you rolled out the price, sales issues are objections. And he said, the more obstacles you remove before you roll out the price, the fewer objections you get after, right?
Yeah.
So I thought this was really smart. I was like, why don't we at Helium, let's sit down and go through what are all the objections,
right?
How could we deal with those obstacles before we show price, so that after we show price, it's simply, do you trust me or do you not?
Well, I think from Mosey's point also,
or I trust you, then buy.
The other thing that I got from the workshop that like has kind of always stuck with me is that marketing's job is to try to remove as many obstacles as you can before they even talk to sales. And so that's the other thing is like, I think it would be a really good exercise to go through like, what are the obstacles? What are the objections? And then are there ways that in our marketing we could overcome those? Then like the sales reps, like we make their job easier. So just something I think the exercise would be valuable both from a marketing and sales standpoint.
Danielle, I just had two ideas.
Yeah.
Idea number one. So Hormozy, a lot of my ideas are going to come from Hormozy here because I've been reading his books and watching his content. One thing that Paul, he said that they do is prior to the sales meeting, they will send the prospect like a 15-minute video. Okay, they're already committing to meet with you, right? So it's like, hey, watch this video, and this video explains our product or explains what this thing is or explains all like it specifically explains stuff that we want them to know, so that when we get on the call, they already know what it is we do and how it works, right? And then your video is like hyper zoomed in. There you go. It like
I did that.
That part is like really zoomed in. They already know what it is and how it works. And then when we get together, our job is to overcome obstacles, build trust, answer questions, make the decision, right? Versus today on the discovery call, we're trying to do all of that on the DC, right?
Yep.
Now, if ours ends up requiring two meetings because we're selling a more expensive thing or whatever, that's a whole other conversation.
Just a quick question on it. Do they send a personalized video or do they build like a generic video that they send?
I think it's like a VSL. It's like a more generic video.
So it's kind of like that 8-minute pre-sale video that we created.
I think so. And basically, so imagine if you and I were going to sign up for like a new software or whatever, right? It's like, hey, watch this 10-minute video that explains go high level, everything it does, how it works, and its features. So when we meet, I don't demo all of those for you again. You've already gone through that, right? Now we just talk about, does it make sense? What are your pains and objections? And I can answer questions, right? That's the idea. So
you probably could monitor if people actually watch it ahead of time too with like HubSpot, and then then you know like what they. Yeah. Now, one thing I would say is I get videos like that from softwares, and I pretty much never watch them. So I think another good question on that would be like, how do we actually get people to watch the video ahead of time? The personalization stuff goes a long way. Like the iPhone messages where you like talk to them, I feel like the likelihood they listen to one of those is really high. But like a generic video, but maybe that's
you can play around with it.
Small percentage. Yeah.
Or we could say like, hey, here's a 10-minute video prior to watch. Like we see who opens and watches them. If you watch it, you get an automatic 10% discount on our product. If you don't watch it, you don't, whatever. And then it's like, yeah, like we track it and there's like a 10% discount, but just whatever. So there's probably stuff we could play around with. All right, here's my 2 ideas, Danielle. Prior to discovery call, what we should do for people is we should send them or maybe this is the proposal meeting. We could figure out where it goes in our process, but we send them that like a really good 5 or 10 minute video that just explains our product and what we do and like preps people already. Mm-hmm. Second thing we should send people is we should come up with a really good, like maybe come up with a way to make it really visual, but free. Like brief. Like literal, here's 13 and like full detailed spelled out clutch reviews and 50 Google reviews. And it's just like page after page after page after page of proof. And it's done in such a way where it's like, it's compellingly too much information. Right? Right? Because like one thing Hormozy said, he's like, imagine if you printed out all of your Google reviews. If you had 100 Google reviews and you printed them out and you framed them and you put them on your lobby wall, he's like, it would completely fill your entire freaking wall. He's like, but if you go to an average HVAC company and it's like, how many reviews do you have? We have 100. They're like, oh, okay. That's not that impressive online. But in person printed out, they would be like, there's so many reviews, right?
Yeah.
Overwhelming. And so how do we use the data we have to overwhelm people, right? They're not going to go read all 50 reviews, but if we like blow them up and like whatever, it's literally 50 pages, they're like, okay, I get the point. Like you have a lot of people who love working with you. And we're like, yeah, these people are spending $60,000 to $150,000 a year with us. And this is what they're saying. Right? So then when they're like, will it work for me? It worked for them. It'll work for you. Well, It's too expensive. Well, price is what you pay, value is what you get. It's too expensive, it doesn't work. If it works and we drive you 6x, then how much can you spend? And so we can, right? So I just wonder, I think that's two things, Danielle, we should do differently is like, we have a video we send, and then we have this like overwhelming proof thing we sent before we even start the objection handling meeting. Where, hey, did you see all the proof? So then if they're like, is it going to work for me? Did you read, did you see the proof PDF? They're like, no, I didn't read it. Here, pull it up for me. Or we pull it up live on the call, right? So just because Paul, ultimately, everything we're saying, right? Like, why did I not sign up with Growth on the call? Because I don't know it's going to work. I'm viewing it as a complete risk of like, do I want to spend $12,000 a month and try this thing? That's a lot of money, right? Like $12,000 a month, like that's, you could do a lot of things with 12 grand a month, right?
Well, right now that's like, if you think about like yesterday, our average cost per lead on Facebook was $40. So take $12,000 divided by 40, and that's how many leads we could get with the same dollars each month.
That's like more than 10 leads.
That's right? 300 leads.
That's 300 leads a month, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. If you're, what is the Compassion International, like $20 a month? You could feed like 600 kids a month with that, right? Let's say you're like, well, I don't care about money. I want to help people. That's 600 kids a month you could feed or whatever. That's a lot of money. So to me, it was like, do I want to put $12,000 on red and spin the roulette wheel? That's how I feel, because I have no proof that it's going to work for us. So that's the other thing I'm thinking with Helium. How do we help people feel way more proof, right? Because I think people don't buy because they're like, I have to decide if I want to risk.
So this is a strategy that we could consider, because I thought it worked like pretty beautifully when I saw it. But I like worked with a golf coach earlier this year, and he was selling some students on like his program or whatever. And because I was a happy client, they asked me like, hey, would you be willing to jump on a call, just you and them, not like nobody from his team, just me and them. And I jumped on 3 calls and I just answered their questions about my experience, and all 3 of them closed. And this program he was selling was like $700 a month. So it wasn't like cheap or anything. So for like, business to consumer services, so these are consumers dishing out that type of money. So it's a pretty big buy for just like a person out of their own paycheck. So, but it worked really well because, like if you think about it from their perspective, they're being pitched, they feel really good about everything they're hearing from this other company, but they're like kind of skeptical, like, oh, maybe they're just good at selling, maybe it's not a good experience. So when they could talk to me without anybody else there to, ensure that I said something good, they trust me way more as somebody that like went through the program than they ever would a sales rep. Like I have a lot more, what's the word?
Patos or Credibility.
Credibility, yeah, is probably the right word. Yeah, I have a lot more credibility. And on all three of those calls, I told them both the good and the bad. I even in some cases told the people that like, look, this is only going to work for you if it's all about how much time you put in. Don't expect them to like push you. Like I gave them the truth, but like I wasn't trying to sell or anything. I just was telling them the truth, and I told them the good and I told them the bad. And all three of those people bought like pretty much the next day after calling me. And so now this person's always asking me like, hey, Paul, can you jump on another call? We're batting 1,000. I'm like, there's nothing in this for me. I'm not doing this.
You're like, hey, you gotta start paying me half of the fee, and then I'll do this.
Yeah, they gave me a free golf club, which was a nice one or whatever. But like, I'm just like, I'm a busy person. I don't want to keep doing these calls for you. But like, either way, it's like kind of a high ticket item when you think about it from a consumer standpoint, and it like just closed every person. Like, and it wasn't even like I had to. I didn't have to go in the call and like embellish anything or even talk positively. They just gave them the truth, and they were already sold. They just were skeptical, but got them across the finish line. So that's like a pretty interesting strategy that we could try, but it is asking a lot. Like I actually got kind of annoyed by the whole thing because I'm like, look, I'm not your salesperson. Like,
right.
Like if you want to give me some sort of like commission on this stuff, I'll do it. But like otherwise, even then, I don't even really want to do it.
All right, so let's unpack a few of these things. I think there's some changes we need to make. So number one, I think we need to send that proof, that really good proof doc or whatever, have a video. Paul, let's go through the top objections and obstacles we get, and let's come up with what we would think is like the best, like in the ideal scenario, right? What would actually get us closed? What we would actually work with? Because I think like if you're talking to Hormozy in the gym world, whatever, people want to lose weight. Like I think that's one conversation. I think we are selling to professional businesses and marketing managers, and they are the decision maker, but they don't want to make a bad decision. They want it to, they have to get other people involved. It's decision by committee, right? And our clients are going to be with us for years. And so it's like we can take another minute or two to get this done. But I think the biggest kicker I'm learning is people are still people. And so people buy the way people buy. And so it's we can't just say, well, it's business to business, I'm just going to email over the quote. No, don't do that, right? That will not work. You still got to go through the exact framework, and we don't actually need 20 meetings to make a decision, right? They're either going to buy from us or they're not going to buy from us. We can get there faster. So like, let's get the process better, cleaner, faster. But it may not be possible to do with a one call close with our like $100,000 a year investment. That might
I think with their ICP,
I don't know.
Unless you get everybody on the call and they're like pretty prepared, most businesses are not going to like impulsively pull the trigger on a deal just because it sounds good.
The other thing is the risk. They're giving us access to their website. We're now running their marketing. I would say this is, I just thought of this, but I think this is actually partially true. I think it's more like an interview than it is buying a product when they're buying from Helium. It's like, I'm deciding to hire a new employee. Do you fit my culture? Do you like what you have to say? Like it's an interview process more than it is you're buying a widget. Like I need a widget to solve XYZ pain, tchotchke. Let's just decide. So I think it's an interview, right? And it's like, how do I get hired on the second interview, not the 15th interview kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and one component that's a little bit different too. So like usually the decision maker can make a decision and then they just go to finance and they're like, this is the person that we're hiring for this role.
Right.
But like in this case, they actually have to kind of like parrot back the sales pitch that we are making back to finance. So if we don't actually train them on how to even pitch what we're pitching to them, then they may not be able to get internal like alignment on the strategy. Yeah. So I think that's the only thing is like, with interviews, it's like if they get through, you've already decided, hey, we got this position, we need to fill it. With this, there's an element of what the person also has to sell the candidate to everybody else in the company.
Okay. Let's go through these. So, Danielle, if you're taking notes, let's list out probably the most common objections, obstacles, pain points, and let's think about how we could best solve them and overcome them. Let's also kind of brainstorm some ideas, because I do have one idea that I want to throw out there that, let's come back to this, Danielle, is, Paul, what could we do that could close everybody on the first call? And one thing we could do is project/a paid assessment, right? Just to get people buying from us and get them under the hood. We could actually say, hey, I can't sell you anything yet until the first thing we need is the assessment. It's $2,000. It's a one-time fee. Here's what it is. It's 100% money back guaranteed, blah, 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 blah. Can we commit to this? And then it's getting us in as a vendor, getting under the hood. Most people buy it, which then pays back our CAC, right? Customer acquisition costs, we pay way more back. So we could change our process to make it something, because part of the reason why it takes so long to decide is they're thinking about paying $5,000 per month indefinitely. And so it's a longer thing, right? Who's the sales rep, if came to me and said, Tim, here's the first step. For $2,000, we're going to come in, we're going to audit your social thing, we're going to give you a plan, we're going to give you the whole thing, we're going to blah, 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 blah. Here's what we're going to do. For the first one, it's like, do you want to do that? Like, yeah, let's do that. I could just decide, because it's like, it's $2,000, yeah, let's just do it. If it's $12,000 per month ongoing forever, I need to pray about that, right?
Yeah.
Like I need to, I got to think about that, right?
So one of the dangers of like pitching a smaller upfront fee is it can sometimes, I think, make your overall product look less valuable. So if you're like, oh, it's gonna be $12,000 a month, you need to commit for 6 months before this is really gonna work for you, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, I got $2,000 thing, then you might be like, oh, like, is this product as great? Like when it's so expensive, you're like, this must be really good. So that's the one danger. But what I was gonna say is, I think like if you combined the $2,000 thing with the objection that it's specifically dealing with, which is like the fear of like, one, will this work? And two, is this going to be a company that like, am I going to have a good experience with this company? If we turned it into like the hardest decision you're going to make, like when you pick an agency is like, you never actually get to work with them before you pick one of them. So you're really just talking to their sales reps, and you're being sold by the sales rep that's the most compelling, but there's not necessarily a relationship between a compelling sales rep and a good product and a good experience. And so because we know we know what the decision maker, we know that this is a tough decision, and that like, you don't know, it's just like hiring someone. There's some people that are just amazing at interviewing because they keep getting fired and they get really good at doing interviews. But they're terrible employee sales. So we built this specifically for you so that you can like try this out. I know this is kind of like one of the guarantees I think we're already talking about, but I think if you pair it with like the purpose behind it, then you like don't devalue your main offer too much. So just a thought.
All right, let me, that's a good point. And that's why I was throwing out there is like, that might not be the play. That might be the wrong play. The play might actually be to make it more expensive, and then say you failed in the past because you didn't invest heavily enough, and like you need to, this has to really matter, right? You have to really pay attention to it, right? All right, here's some of the big objections that we get. Number one is, I need to think about it. Like
one thing on this one,
I need to think about it. We get that all the time.
Yeah, I pulled up a list. I was looking this up. Just like what would Claude say? And the thing I was going to point out about we need to think about it that I thought was really interesting that Claude said is that when someone says we need to think about it, it's not a real objection. It's just an exit ramp because one of the other objections was unaddressed. And so we need to think about it is actually a sign that you missed the true objections. Like you didn't get
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And so like the true objections are things like, how do we know this will work? Does it take too long? We've got burned before. It's too expensive. We don't have budget. Can't we do this in-house? What about AI? Is that going to take over and we're making a mistake investing in this right now? So it's like when people say, I need to think about it, it's actually like a really good like thermostat for you failed at finding their true objection.
Then it was,
All right. So here's what I think we should do when someone says, I need to think about it. I think we should say, absolutely. I don't want you to make an uninformed decision. Like, that's the worst, right? Decisions that you regret making, like, oh, I should never have made that. Can you just help me understand so I can make sure I know what to send you? What is it that you need to think through? What do you feel uncomfortable? What do you not like? Right? And I think we also have to get good, Paul, at framing for people like, you're not going to offend me, right? You're not going to offend me. Tell me how you really feel about this. How do you feel about SEO firms? How do you feel about me? How do you feel about this investment? Like, just shoot me straight, because I cannot address actual concerns if I don't know what they are. And what I mean by addressing concerns too is it might say, look, the price is $5,000 a month. And they're like, we just absolutely can't and are never going to spend that. Okay, that's fine, right? If this is not the right, I want to find the right thing for you. And if this is not the right thing for you, then the best thing I can do is not sell it. And the best thing you can do is not buy it, right? If I'm selling trips to Maui and you're allergic to the sun, don't buy this vacation, right? It's the wrong thing for you, right? So I think we have to remember to frame that early on so that people trust us of like, look, my whole job, I think, oh, I have an idea too. Oh, we should add this to the script, Danielle.
mm-hmm.
We should say, we do not make money from clients in the first 6 months, right? Like, we don't. If a client comes in, signs up, we do all the research and the kickoff, and they last like 3 or 4 months, we lose money. We should actually tell people that and say, guys, the way our process and business works, like, we're not going to make money unless you guys are with us for a while, right? And so if you join and are unhappy and quit, it's just as bad for us as it is for you. We lose money too. So neither one of us want that. So if you're not really sold and you guys don't want to really work on this and put energy and effort in and make this a success, it loses me money just like it loses you money. We both fail. So like, let's not do that, please, right? I don't want you to sign up and this not be a fit. Like, if it doesn't work for you, I lose money too, right? So I think we should be more open with that so people know that it's like, oh, we're in this thing together, right?
Yeah. Like that.
Okay, so I need to think about it. So then what we do is we circle back to what objection has not been handled, right? And then we handle that objection, and then we try to close again, right? We try to I forget, he had a name for it. It's like looping or something. Like, you try to go back and close. You don't try to close twice in a row. If the person says no and you don't change anything, they try to close again, you just piss them off. But if you close and you handle the objection, it's like, no, I can't buy this. I can't buy this steak because I'm allergic to steak. Oh, this is actually not steak, it's bison. Are you allergic to bison? Oh, no, I'm not allergic to bison. Oh, cool. Okay, great. Do you want a 12 ounce or a 15 ounce? Right? And then you try to close again, right? Because now the information's changed.
So I don't know if you want to test this out, because so ChatGPT just came out with like a new voice model that's really good. And one idea I've had, because I think it's one thing to like to hear like, this is how you deal with this objection. It's a whole nother thing to be able to like articulate it well on a call. Do you want to try? I don't know if this is going to work through the audio, but do you want to try seeing if I could set up a scenario where someone says, I don't know, and then you talk to them and it was test if this actually works? Okay.
I would love to. You probably have to share your audio.
No, I'm going to do it on my phone.
Oh,
we'll see if it, well, yeah, this could be this. Let me see if I can make
at the very least, Paul, we should create an agent on this so we can train our sales reps. We can train ourselves against this and use this as practice.
All right, let's just see what happens here if this works. This may just not work, but
make it an angry British guy. No, just kidding.
Hey, ChatGPT, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, cool. You're going to be a SEO prospect that we're trying to sell, and we're going to start by asking you a question like, is this something you're interested in? And I want you to respond, we need to think about it, or this is bad timing, one of those two, and then just continue to play that character for the whole entire time. Okay? So Tim is going to talk to you, and let's see how this works.
You are.
I can't hear what she's saying at all.
Oh, you can't hear that? Oh,
No. Can you run it through? Can you do it on your computer through your audio? Would that work?
yeah. Let's see if that works.
Like you screen share an audio, just so like, cause also the listeners are gonna need to be able to hear the audio really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Give me 1 sec.
So Danielle, while Paul does that, here's probably the top objections I think we get
Okay.
is it's too expensive. Like this is more than we have in our budget. I need to take this to my boss, or some version of I'm not the final decision maker. I have to go take this to my boss. We have to meet. There's like a committee who makes this decision. There's that one's probably really common.
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't specialize in my space. You don't specialize in my industry. We probably lose the most business that we would have won that we lost. We lose to that. Let's see what are some other.
If there is audio with this, I can't hear it on my end.
Oh, okay. I can hear her now through mine.
Really?
Yeah. No.
Did she say she could hear you?
No, but I could hear her.
This may not work, but I could actually bring the phone in to your office really quick, and then it would work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, can she not sync with our audio?
So
It's okay. We could play around with this. This could actually be
is
something
ChatGPT
we could play around with.
able to hear Tim right now through the speaker?
Can you hear me if I talk?
Oh, because the message.
Oh wait,
Paul. Yeah, it was transcribing Tim speaking.
oh yeah, okay. What's weird though is I can't. Like, you guys can hear ChatGPT, but I cannot. So
Really?
Hmm.
Did you click the settings when you shared like
That's a little.
the audio sharing where you can hear it and they can? I think there's.
Maybe
let me try one more.
might.
I'll see if this works. Yeah, so share sound. ChatGPT, can you hear me?
Still just hearing you.
I could hear. Yeah, I could hear.
Just try to talk to ChatGPT and see if she responds to you, I guess.
Hey, chat. Can you hear me if I talk to you?
Mm-hmm. I'm here.
Ah, okay. That's working.
It was working. Okay. Yeah, do you want? Yeah, let's just see what happens. Yeah.
All right, let's try this. Let's just see what happens. If it doesn't work, we'll just edit it out of the video.
Sure.
Okay. You play the prospect. You have a website. Your budget's $3,000 a month for SEO. And I go through the whole pitch, and then you say, like, we need to think about it. Like, I'm not ready to make a decision right away. I've been burned before. I need to think about it. And can we do sales role play on that?
All right. Sure thing. I can jump in and play the prospect. So yeah, I've looked you up, peeked around your site a bit. I'm in, but I'm not gonna make a decision today. I'm still figuring stuff out.
Totally. That makes sense. Hey, I 100% understand. The worst thing is making a decision, getting like pushed into a decision, or like making an emotional decision that you wake up the next day and like, shouldn't have made that. That was awful. So I don't want that for you either. Just so I better understand, what are your biggest hangups? What are the things that you don't like the most about the product I've shared, or Helium, or this solution?
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe a few things. I'm worried about getting locked into something that doesn't pan out, or spending a bunch before I actually know it's working. I've been burned before, so I'm just really cautious now.
No, that makes total sense, chat. Well, check this out. So Helium actually has what we call the volcano guarantee. If you sign up with us and you wouldn't run back into an active volcano to sign back up, which is a joke, but meaning if you sign up with us and for any reason you're not completely satisfied, we actually offer an unconditional 30-day money-back guarantee in the first 6 months. If any reason you don't like it, it's not a fit for you, we're not delivering, you thought you were going to get something else, we offer an unconditional guarantee. So if you sign up with me today, here's the great news. If you sleep on it, you wake up tomorrow and you're like, I deeply regret it, you can cancel and get your money back. You are not stuck. So would that overcome that concern?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely lowers the risk. I mean, it's a strong guarantee, but I still don't really love the idea of switching everything over.
Totally. Do you have a current agency today that's doing all this?
Right?
Did you die? Are you there? Do you have a current agency that's doing your SEO?
Yeah, we've got someone.
Okay. And so the concern is like, man, how much time are we gonna have to spend to get you to Helium on board? What about the other person? What if they break stuff on the way out? Is that the concern?
Yeah, exactly. The transition feels like a headache. It feels like messy. And if something goes wrong, then that's on me.
Yeah, totally. That's very fair. I've been doing this for 14 years. There are definitely, it's a small percentage, but there are a few bad actors who leave unprofessionally and they don't transition things well. But I'll share this with you, chat. In 14 years of doing this, that's pretty rare. I would say maybe 1 in every 200 or 300. It's very rare. And here's why. They know that if they leave a really bad taste in your mouth, you'll never use them again. And you'll tell 10 people never to use them. And so most business owners, most businesses are smart to know that leave on a good terms, because look, if you switch to Helium and things don't go well, you're going to call them back. But if they burn you on the way out, you'll never call them again. And so that the good news is, and I've done this for a long time, that risk is pretty low. There's one other thing that we can do to mitigate that risk, which is, yes, there's some pain to switching, but you shared with me early on the call that sales are down, leads are down, rankings are down. So if you stay with the current person while you don't have the pain of switching, can you keep going with the results that you have now?
Yeah, that's fair.
So there's going to be a little bit of pain in switching, but you're going through that pain because you need the better results. And that's why you'd switch to Helium. But here's the good news. We're going to make that pain basically zero. We have a whole team. Their job is to do this transition. We call it a transition team. Their whole job is to get with your current provider, and we have a whole system for it. So all we need to do is get the logins. And don't forget, we don't need their current strategy because what they're doing is not working. So we don't need their strategy. All we need is the logins, which you should also have too, just to protect your business. And so they should share the logins with you and share the logins with us. That's all we need, and we do the rest.
Okay. Yeah, that does help.
So, I was gonna say for this,
This will be fun.
So isn't it? I would say one on this. The thing that I think is really interesting is, so like Sean and I were playing around with some of this stuff like a couple months ago, and I think there's just like a different experience to the unpredictability that AI has versus a friend doing a role play. Like, so if you and I went back and forth, right? It's like you don't really know how she's gonna respond, and a lot of times she responds kind of awkwardly, not like and unclear, and you almost have to hold this and keep it fluid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what she said. Wait, so all right, so Chat.
Yeah.
One last thing, ChatGPT. So can you provide feedback from your vantage point on Tim's sale there?
Yeah, let me think. From a sales coaching perspective, I think he did a good job overall. He acknowledged that risk, reframed the cost of inaction, and mentioned the transition support. I mean, that's all solid. The main improvement I would suggest is just shorter chunks and more check-ins. Like, after explaining the guarantee, just ask one clear, direct question, like, if we handle the handoff, does that take care of this concern? It keeps the prospect actively engaged. By the end, I did feel mostly reassured, like the switch wasn't as scary, but not fully committed. I would have been ready for a closing question right there. So I'd rate the handling like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Just tighten it up and let the prospect confirm that the concern's gone.
Good. It's good feedback. I like that.
Yeah, so I think this could be a really powerful tool for us in like having the reps actually practice objection handling. And because I think it's tough. I mean, like you have a lot of experience, but like I've tried doing that before. And like, I mean, you get all these like curveballs thrown at you. And sometimes it's like you kind of like stumble on your words trying to respond. Like, yeah. So, yeah. And it sounds relatively real and is responsive now. So it could be a good way to practice this. Yeah.
No, I like that. And it'll be a good way for them to practice, but I agree with you, like not just with the sales manager, right? Paul, I want to just like think through some of this with you on the sales front, because this is really important. I'm processing at a high level through probably what we need to do next with our business. I actually want to change what I said about Hormozy. Hormozy was actually sales master first, then marketing, then business strategy coaching. He said that because people asked him like, how'd you get so good at sales? He said, well, I did 4,000 gym sales consults over a span of 4 years. So he had 6 gyms, and then he did work for other people's gyms. And he said literally for 4 straight years, he was just back to back in sales meetings every day. He did 4,000 of them. And he was like, I got really freaking good at it because I did it 4,000 times. And he had so many reps and at bats, it allowed him to practice and try new things and get better and practice and practice. So one of the first things, Paul, like we're going to have to be really careful with, or like intentional about, is making sure we have so much lead volume that people can take the risk of trying the stuff, right? Because if we take the risk of trying to close on the first call and it doesn't go well, we need new leads coming in so we can like, oops, okay, right. The other thing he said, he had 2 things. He said, give your best leads to your best closers absolutely overnight. Because he's like the cost to the business when that happens is massive, and your worst reps need more at-bats and more practice. And so give them the worst leads. He also said this, I thought was really good. He said there are 3 types of people. There are dogs, there are horses, and there are tigers. Dogs, if you tell them to do a trick and you give them food, will perform. But if you stop feeding them, they will just die. They will just eventually stop eating and die. There's a horse. Horses work when you whip them and they gallop. But as soon as you stop whipping the horse, it goes back to a trot. He said there are tigers. He said if a tiger like kills a zebra and is eating the zebra, literally in the act of eating the zebra, if a bunny runs by, the tiger who's already full will get up and hunt the bunny and kill the bunny because it hunts for sport. It hunts because it loves hunting, whether it's hungry or not. And he's like, you need tigers. He said the best salespeople, they hunt and they love the game. They do it for the love of the game, not for closing deals and making money. Yes, that's a result and they like that, but they hunt for the sake of hunting. So he said, if you have salespeople who go like, they work really hard and then they go into slumps. He's like, they're either a dog or a horse, right? He said the tiger is the kind of person who they work every day. They work nights, they work weekends, they study this stuff, they push themselves, they watch their game because they want to be the best, right? And we've seen those kind of people before. We know those kind of people. He's like, they will sell because they're tigers and they will push themselves. And the harder you push them, the more they push themselves and they will just win. But if you have people who you have to push them, they're dogs or horses, and they will never make the best salespeople, right? So I thought that was really good. He also said that the best sales directors and sales managers are servant leaders who love seeing people unlock potential, and they're willing to say the same things over and over and over and over again, and they enjoy the consistency of training, right? And he's like, they're usually not, he's like, there are some very few rock stars who can do both. He's like, but it's pretty rare. It's usually 2 different skill sets. And he said, a great sales director is worth their weight in gold. They're very hard to find and they're incredibly valuable. He also recommends hiring that sales director. He said investors say hire 1 to hire 10. spend your time and energy getting the very, very, very best leader you can, and then let that leader build the team. So that's another thing we were learning is like, we should fix the current setup we have now with our current team, but I shouldn't hire all the reps, right? Because then they're gonna need me, right? Versus we get this thing really pumping and like, okay, we got the system. Then, and it's like, good. Then we hire in the sales director next before we hire any more reps. So the director builds the team, not me, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, even with the, I mean, like, I think with the team we have, like, if we can like get close rate doubled, keep getting leads improved, I mean, we can go pretty far. And then that gets us the income we need to get a good sales director as well. So it's a good path forward for that.
Hey guys, thanks for following us along with episode 1. If you would love to see, we're gonna be posting these every single day. We're gonna post, Danielle, 7 days a week? We're gonna post every day?
Yeah.
Every day.
Let's make it happen.
So guys, we're gonna post this every single day. So if you guys want to follow along, if you want to watch us build a $100 million brand from a $7 million company, the 93 million in between, what are we going to work on? What are we going to focus on? This podcast is going to be the actual in the trenches, what we're saying, what we're deciding, what we're building, what we're changing, what we're doing. If you want to see all that, join our podcast, follow our podcast, follow on socials to get more information, and we'll see you guys on the next one.